Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajaganarandana Yashodanandana Brajaganarandana Yamuna Tiravana Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Brajaganarandana Yashodanandana Brajaganarandana Dhamena Tiravanansari Yamuna Tiravanansari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Paramahamsa Pri Vrajgasajya Stotra Satya Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Sirabai Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON DVT Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samavata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jainitai Gaura Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri the Prabhupada. Om Agyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Taksurandalitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhyaeva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Shaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayashabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Uttama Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyanam Maha. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Surabhyay Namaha. Om Surabhyay Namaha. Om Surabhyay Namaha. Mukham karoti vasalam pangom langayate girim yat kripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yat kripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. Continuing to read from canto number 1, actually canto number 2. Canto number 2 entitled, chapter 1 entitled The First Step in God Realization. Yesterday we read 6, so today text number 7. Prayena Munayo Rajam Nivritta Vidhi Sedhataha Nairgunya Stha Ramante Sma Guna Anukathane Harehe Prayena Munayo Rajan Nivritta Vidhi Sedhata Nairgunyasta Ramante Sma Gunanu Kathane Harehe Prayena Munayo Rajan Nivritta Vidhi Sedhataha. Nairgunyastha Ramante Sma Gunanu Kathane Harehe Prayena Munayo Rajan Nivritta Vidhi Sedhataha Nairgunyastha Ramante Sma Gunanu Kathane Harehe. Prayena munayo rajan Divritta vidhi seda Nairgunyastharamante sma Gunanukhattane hare Prayena munayo rajan Nivritta vidhi nitya Nairgunyastharamante sma Gunanukhattane hare Prayena mainly Munayaha all sages Rajan O king Nivrittaha above Vidhi regulative principles Sedataha from restrictions Nairgunyastaha transcendentally situated Ramante take pleasure in Sma distinctly Guna Anukatani describing the glories Hare of the Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. O King Parikshit, mainly the topmost transcendentalists who are above the regulative principles and restrictions take pleasure in describing the glories of the Lord. Kindly repeat after me. O King Parikshit,
O King Parikshit,
mainly the topmost transcendentalists who are above the regulative principles and restrictions take pleasure in describing the glories of the Lord. Purport. The topmost transcendentalist is a liberated soul and is therefore not within the purview of the regulative principles. A neophyte who is intended to be promoted to the spiritual plane is guided by the spiritual master under regulative principles. He may be compared to a patient who is treated by various restrictions under medical jurisdiction. Generally, liberated souls also take pleasure in describing the transcendental activities. As mentioned above, since Narayana, Hari, the personality of Godhead, is beyond the material creation, his form and attributes are not material. The topmost transcendentalists, or the liberated souls, realize him by advanced experience of transcendental knowledge, and therefore they take pleasure in the discussion of the transcendental qualities of the Lord's pastimes. In the Bhagavad Gita 4:9, where's my Bhagavad Gita? In the Bhagavad Gita 4:9, the personality of Godhead declares that his appearance and activities are all divyam, or transcendental. The common man, who is under the spell of material energy, takes it for granted that the Lord is like one of us, and therefore he refuses to accept the transcendental nature of the Lord's form, name, etc. The topmost transcendentalist is not interested in anything material, and his taking interest in the matter of the Lord's activities is definite proof that the Lord is not like one of us in the material world. In the Vedic literatures also, it is confirmed that the Supreme Lord is one, but that he is engaged in his transcendental pastimes in the company of his unalloyed devotees, and thus simultaneously he is present as the Supersoul, an expansion of Baladeva in the heart of all living entities. Therefore, the highest perfection of transcendental realization is to take pleasure in hearing and describing the transcendental qualities of the Lord, and not in merging into his impersonal Brahman existence, for which the impersonalist monist aspires. Real transcendental pleasure is realized in the glorification of the transcendental Lord, and not in the feeling of being situated in his impersonal feature. But there are also others who are not the topmost transcendentalists, but are in a lower status, and who do not and who do not take pleasure in describing the transcendental activities of the Lord. Rather, they discuss such activities of the Lord formally, with the aim of merging into his existence. Translation again. O King Parikshit, this is Shukadeva Goswami speaking to King Parikshit. Many of the topmost transcendentalists who are above the regulative principles and restrictions take pleasure in describing the glories of the Lord. So, some nice points are being explained here. One of the points explained is that those who are situated on the topmost platform of self-realization, they are above and not regulated by various what we call principles. That is the difference, nicely explained, of course, by Srila Rupa Goswami, very much in detail regarding the level of regulative devotional service, referred to as Vaidhi Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti, and the level of spontaneous, pure devotional service. The general process is that one must follow the stage of regulative principles or sadhana, so that gradually one can become purified to reach the platform or the stage of spontaneous, natural devotional service to the Lord. So there are different types of transcendentalists. The two main levels of transcendentalists that we generally hear about are those who are realizing the transcendental nature of the Lord. And the purport Prabhupada makes reference to, those who have Bhagavad Gita can read that verse. Yes. Janma karma samid divyam evam joveti tattvataha tyaktva deham punar janma naiti mam iti sorjuna, which reads as follows. Loudly.
Translation.
More loud than those who are outside.
Translation. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, taking his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna.
Yes. So those who are factually realizing, this is also referred to in the purport, that actual transcendentalists are those who have this very deep and profound realization of the actual nature of the Supreme Lord. So early in the morning, my God. Yeah. This is nicely described actually in one verse from the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is only when one attains a level of prasanna, evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. One can only attain the level of prasanna, peacefulness of mind, by following the various regulative principles, by following the rules and regulations prescribed in the Shastra. One gradually arises from the lower modes of material nature to the highest level, or to the highest mode of material nature, which is the mode of goodness, from which, what characterizes the mode of goodness? No, that's the name. What is the character? What characterizes the mode of goodness? Peacefulness, peace of mind, isn't it? One is no longer agitated, and one becomes situated in knowledge. Knowledge and peace of mind. Peace of mind can only come when we have knowledge, proper knowledge. Ignorance is what is causing suffering. Knowledge is the result of knowledge, the result of the cultivation of transcendental knowledge is peacefulness, peacefulness of mind, peace of mind. And it is in that situation or condition of attaining or being in a peaceful mind, that one can nicely practice devotional service, bhakti. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogataha. And it is by the performance of bhakti, and only by the performance of bhakti, that one can transcend and go beyond the mode of goodness to enter on the platform of pure goodness, whereby one receives transcendental knowledge. That transcendental knowledge becomes revealed within the heart by the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. When we properly, nicely follow the recommended principles given in the Shastra and taught by the spiritual master, then by the execution of bhakti devotional service, we receive the mercy of both the Guru and Krishna. Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Bij. And one becomes enlightened in devotional service. One becomes enlightened about his nature. One becomes enlightened about the nature of the Lord. One becomes enlightened about the mission of the Lord. All of these things are interconnected, interrelated. We must become synchronized, so to speak. We must be connected. We must become connected with the mission of the Lord, and that will be shown and demonstrated by our activities, by our consciousness. Therefore, the consciousness of a materialistic person is completely different than that of a transcendentalist. Transcendentalist is concerned about the Lord, is concerned about the Lord's mission, is concerned about the Lord's devotees. And he takes, this is the main message being conveyed here, he takes pleasure in those transcendental activities. Therefore, the Bhagavatam also speaks about the difference, between the swan. The swans are not at all attracted to dirty or filthy places. The swans generally swim in very pristine waters, very clear, clean waters. Whereas the crows, and it's kind of interesting because the swans are white and the crows are black. So the swans being white, they are pure, and they are attracted to what is pure. You never see a swan in the garbage, filthy place. And you don't see crows swimming in pure water. That is the difference between a purified consciousness, someone in purified consciousness, and someone in contaminated consciousness. Those in pure consciousness are attracted to holy places, are attracted to subject matters relating to transcendence, they are attracted to the Lord and His unlimited qualities and activities that are described in the Vedic literatures, and they, in this way, they ramante, they derive great pleasure on this level, because they understand the transcendental nature of the Lord, and they are constantly seeking to be connected with the Lord in so many different ways. Someone in purified consciousness will not be able to appreciate. This is also explained by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Avajananti mam buddha manushim prakritim asrita. Then param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. People do not know the nature of the Supreme Lord. Param bhavam, the Lord is situated in His param bhavam, supreme transcendental nature. So that is actually the test, how to distinguish the consciousness of an individual. If one is attracted to be with devotees, if one is seeking out the good association of devotees, if one is attracted to the holy places where the Lord has performed His pastimes, if one is attracted to the mission of the Lord, if one is endeavoring to be of whatever menial service and assistance in the mission of the Lord, then all of these are indications that one is on the right path, that one is losing gradually. We must gradually lose interest and attraction to the material world, to the inferior energy of Prakriti. And unless we develop some attraction for the Lord, for the Lord's devotees, and for the Lord's mission, then we will be allured, we'll be attracted, we will be pulled by the inferior energy of the Lord, by the material energy of the Lord. So, a number of points. Prabhupada also makes the very important difference here between those who seek to merge, those who seek to become one. Because when there's one, it's like if we are alone living in a house. It's like if we would not be here, Prabhu Nityananda would be alone in the house. It's not interesting to be alone in the house. Is it true? Not true. We seek company. We want to have company. We want to associate. So therefore, it is against nature to merge into oneness. In oneness, there is no variety. There is no activity. But when there are many people in one room, of course, if there's too many people, then that's a problem also. But that's not a problem because the spiritual world is unlimited. So there can be unlimited living entities associating in so many ways in the spiritual world. And that is the attractive feature. That is the attractive feature of spirituality, in particular of bhakti or devotion, because that devotion, the nature of bhakti, the nature of devotional service, is that it allows us to interact with other living entities on the level of love and devotion. It allows us to gradually become qualified to interact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. So it means that actually, unless we learn how to interact with other devotees in proper consciousness, that proper consciousness being in loving devotion, we will not learn how to interact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So therefore the spiritual master, the role and the presence of the spiritual master is to give us opportunities actually to interact with that personality. All of us are individual personalities. And when everyone of course in the material world is interacting with someone or other, with someone or another person, but generally that is a cause of a conflict and clash because it's on the material platform. So therefore, although it is often not so easy to interact with devotees, it's not easy to interact with devotees because of some residue of material contamination. When devotees are completely purified and no longer influenced or affected by the gunas, the mode of material nature, then that association and interaction with the devotees becomes very pleasurable. Yeah, it's amazing how time just doesn't stop. Huh? Anyways, he knows his duty and responsibility. So this is called non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication. We do that all the time, actually. So we'll just read the verse translation again to text number 7. O King Parikshit, mainly the topmost transcendentalists who are above the regulative principles and restrictions take pleasure in describing the glories of the Lord. Yeah. Any quick comment or question? Yes, sir.
Maharaj, you are mentioning that Evam Prasanna Manasa, that mode of goodness.
Mode of goodness. Yes.
So, and Prabhupada given these 4 rules and regulations.
Yes.
Connected to Satya, Daya, Tapasya.
Srila Prabhupada has given us the 4 rules and regulations, but he did not invent them, of course. They're in the Bhagavatam, yeah. Yes.
So this itself make us come to Sattva Guna, mode of goodness.
Whether this makes us come to the mode of goodness?
Yeah.
Yes.
So then, as we know that, Varnashrama also there. One from the Tamoguna to one can come to Sattva Guna as a Brahman.
Yes.
So then, what is the role of the Varnashrama? I mean, Varna and Ashram. Itself, we have already 4 rules and regulations, don'ts and do's. Itself, it make us to come to more.
Okay, so your point is that because we have these 4 rules and regulations that help us to come to the mode of goodness, then why do we need Varnashram? Right? That's your question. Yes. Taking what is called the devil's advocate. Yes. We have these 4 rules and regulations because within the system of varna and ashrama, these 4 rules and regulations, which are meant to be followed by all the members of the varnas, the 4 rules and regulations, especially are meant to be very strictly followed by the Brahmana, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas. They should also be followed if one is fortunate, if one is not in the category of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, but if one is fortunate to have the guidance and association of such a person, then even someone in the category, let's say, of Shudra, which is generally more influenced by the mode of ignorance, isn't it, will be guided to gradually come to the higher level or platform of the mode of goodness. And we should also keep in mind that within the system of Varnasrama, which is described, of course, in the Bhagavad Gita, guna karma svabhava, svabhavada. The natural divisions of Varna are influenced by what is called guna and karma. So for those who are devoid of transcendental knowledge, materialistic people, they also automatically fall actually in these categories of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, which are all of them influenced at different levels by the modes of material nature. Those who are non-devotees and situated primarily in the mode of ignorance, they will have some particular kind of activity which will be characteristic of one who is in the mode of ignorance. However, if one is a devotee, his guna or quality, will not be influenced by the modes of material nature, or will be less and less influenced by the modes of material nature, although his activities may be the same as someone who is falling in that particular category. So in other words, the guna and karma for a non-devotee is very clearly defined, whereas the guna and karma for a devotee will be, the guna will be different. The guna, it's not that someone who is performing activity that is generally, let's say, manual work. Manual work is generally within the category of Shudra, isn't it? Which is for the majority of people, actually. But for a devotee, although he may perform some material or manual activity, he will perform that activity in a higher consciousness, in a devotional consciousness, as an offering to Krishna, isn't it? So, the system of Varna and Ashrama is meant to help individuals serve within any of these different, we can say, categories, within any of these different varnas. So both are, we can say, supportive of one another. Because the vast majority even of Vaishnavas, when we take to the practice of devotional service, we're not immediately situated on the Paramahamsa level, isn't it? And that is why Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his Sojana, what is it? Sajana Toshani, yeah. In his Sajana Toshani nicely explains that the Varnasrama system is there for the Vaishnavas who are still in their conditioned state, isn't it? Although Srila Rupa Goswami states that anyone who begins or takes up the process of bhakti is considered liberated. One is considered liberated in the sense that he is on the right path, and if one remains on that path, he is on the path of liberation. He will one day actually become completely freed and liberated from these modes of material nature. Isn't it? So because even after even following these 4 rules and regulations, it doesn't make us perfect. It brings us to the mode of goodness, isn't it? And by the mode of, by practicing or being situated in the mode of goodness, then we more easily can take up to the practice of devotional service and go beyond mode of material goodness. Yeah. We need to close, I think, now. Huh?
Whatever you like.
Well,
Yeah, Grihastha house no. So it's not so strict no. Oh, you have to do like this. No, in the temple, a lot of people they have to follow the fixed style.
yes.
Here,
Well, Grihastha ashram also has rules and regulations
no,
and schedule.
but for this program, no.